Wow. You're mute. Imagine this. Imagine doing an intro, muting yourself.
That's what you do all the time.
I'm on mute.
No, you're not. That's what he does all the time. He's just trying to make you look shady.
He had me.
No,
You know, he had
He
me.
wasn't mute.
He
You know, he
had
muted
me.
you. You know, muted you. It was Daps.
Bro, I can't even see my screen to mute. Come on now.
Hey, Daps. You know what? I don't, Cass. You could never lie to me and say Daps when I know Daps would never even do that.
Bro, I wouldn't even know. I don't even know what I'm looking at on the screen at the moment. My eyes are that.
I know. If he said, it was Mo, I might have been like, Mo might potentially do it. But
does it to me and Mo all the time.
Bro,
he done it to me the other day.
Yeah. Because I know that he'll banter you with that.
Bro,
I know
I have no idea. Cass, why are you lying for, Cass?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, he's muted himself. There we go. Hey, there we go. There we go. He's unmuted himself.
I don't want to see that. I might get
that. Took me a minute though. Anyone would have seen me squinting.
There you go, people. That's how we start a show on a Friday. Good vibes, good feelings. Everyone's here ready for the weekend, man. Make sure you know what you do, people. Never a foul crew. Make sure you like the video on your way in. It costs nothing. It helps us go out to different people, new audiences. As you've seen with the channel as well, the growth's been massive lately. I looked at the statistics. I think we had like 2.6k subscribers over the last month. So thanks to you guys watching, pushing us out there as well. And obviously, Cass and Mo and Daps obviously been doing regular content the last month. So big up my family as well. So guys, make sure you like this video.
In the last 28 days, we've had 375,000 views. We've had 81,000 watch time hours. And 2.4 new subs. And
do you remember the days when we were begging to get 4,000?
Well, we needed 4,000 in a year. Now we're getting 80,000 in a month. That is mad.
It's incredible, man. Now, big up everyone, man, and you guys that are watching as well. So make sure you shout out the panel as well. We've got Uggs making his debut, Newcastle fan in the building. Going to be seeing his face a lot more than Never a Foul as well. You've seen him on DR as well. Make sure you show some love. But yeah, Uggs, obviously we've got to introduce the guest. And we say, man, thanks for coming on, bro.
No worries, man, bro. First time on the show. Thanks for having me. Daps have been trying to get me on for a while now.
Yeah, but, been speaking for a minute.
Already big time, man.
Like it's busy.
Hey.
No, listen, bro.
Yeah, like that.
I've got a baby daughter, bro. So life is busy right now,
I hear it.
So
I hear it.
I'm here now, innit? So let's
I love that, man. Wicked,
first of many. We've got McAllister in the bottom left right now. We speak Liverpool fans.
Do you know what, Cass? I can see what you're saying a little bit, you know.
It's like McAllister that went to Wendy's 50 times and then it's
like you're called
Wendy's 50 times.
It's like you're half Robertson, half McAllister.
Oh my god.
He's half and half. He's half and half. You're Robertson.
Hi, Jamie. Sorry. Let me do it. It's correct. Hi, Jamie. How are you? Long time no speak.
It's so good to be back. Thank you very much.
By the way, can I just say, Cass, on Monty's channel earlier, were you lot comparing Fabinho to Margs?
Oh no, who did that? Someone did that in the comments, and it was funny. They called Margs Fabinho. People don't know who Margs is.
I'm actually glad I didn't get dragged into that.
Hey, Muggs will punch you up for that swiftly.
Bro, you would, bro.
And you know what? Daps, he's a United fan as well.
Yeah, he is. He is.
So then, guys, 226 if you're already here. Make sure you like the video. Yeah, so guys, we're going to be talking on Liverpool, Arsenal. You guys are going to get your comments in because I think this one, to be fair, is actually worth a debate. Can Liverpool have a better starting 11 than Arsenal if they get Moises Caicedo? At the moment, obviously, we know Liverpool have got McAllister, they've got Szoboszlai in. They're looking like they want to get another midfielder with potentially Henderson leaving and Fabinho. Arsenal are looking at obviously getting another midfielder in. Thomas Partey is up in the air at the moment, whether he's going to be here or not. But Liverpool, the finishing position of them last year, we all agree on it. And I'm guessing as a panel that it doesn't justify where their team is. Me and Daps have had numerous chats about they're not that far off. If they get a few players, they could potentially challenge again. And here we are. Liverpool are doing their business with a month to go. And Arsenal join their first game on pre-season. A long way to go, obviously, till the season starts. But here's a conversation that has to be had. Man City are top of the league at the moment in terms of, they're going in as champions. But Arsenal and Liverpool are going to be fighting there. I think it's only right, Cass, that I go to Jamie to see what his thoughts are so far. Because I know it's been a while since we spoke, Jamie, on Liverpool. Your window so far, how you're moving. Do you feel like this Caicedo deal, or if not, I'm going to throw Romeo Lavia in there, could make you have a team that is worth of challenging Arsenal in terms of a starting 11?
How much have we fallen that we're talking about been equal to Arsenal.
Honestly, mate. Honestly,
this is mad. We used to be equal to Man City only 2 years ago. I literally think Liverpool had a terrible year, as we all know. It was terrible. I don't know why it was so bad. I don't know if they're exhausted through what they've been doing. Klopp's tactics, players getting too old. I don't know what it is because there is still a lot of quality in that side. The transfer window this summer so far, it's been good. The two midfielders we got in, obviously, I think McAllister for 35 million is just, we pulled Brighton's pants down there a little bit, and I think that's why they're making sure they get proper money for Caicedo because, selling McAllister for 35 mil, although it was a release clause, I don't think they thought he was going to be as good as he was when he signed that deal, that 35 mil. So, Szoboszlai for 60 mil, another release clause. He's going to be a special player, in my opinion. I think he's the one to really look out for. I think he's Mo Salah's replacement in a few years' time as well. His natural replacement on that right-hand side.
What?
Isn't he a 10, though?
He can play right wing and 10. Yeah, they're his two main.
I think he's more of a creative midfielder as well.
Yeah, he's their two main positions. He can at Leipzig and Salzburg before he played on that right side 10. He hangs around that side of the pitch. He can play off the left at times as well, but you'd rather have him on the right. But replacing Mo Salah is going to be the hardest thing Liverpool have to do when that eventually happens. And whoever it's going to be, no one's going to be happy. But he's a decent. He's kid's quality, man. But Liverpool got a lot more to do.
Hold on. So are you? What you just said there, spot on for what Liverpool need. You've basically said he can play anywhere across the front three and also in midfield, which is exactly the way Liverpool like to play with people that. Yeah. But are you saying that potentially he could be Salah's replacement? I'm not doing this to clip you, by the way, because we don't even bother with clips, so don't worry about that. But I'm just
Generally, I want to ask these questions. This is
I'm looking at him at 22. I'm looking at him at 22. Athletic, quick, can dribble, eye for goal. Good. He's got a great cross team, good assists. He can play in that right wing area. Now, replacing Mo Salah, as I said, is going to be difficult. So, whoever comes in, you can't expect that person to come in and recreate what Salah does for goals. Name me how many right wingers in world football does what Mo Salah does. Hardly anyone.
That's why he's right-footed as well.
So it's just. So I think he's potentially got that ability to play there. It's going to be exciting. I think Liverpool are just going to play that box midfield next season with Trent inverted, and they're going to use McAllister as the advanced left, Szoboszlai in the advanced right area, and then the DM, whoever it's going to be. I would have said Fabinho at the beginning of the summer, but we don't know yet. And then Trent going alongside him in that inverted role. I think that's how Liverpool are going to set up next season, which is, it's quite a tasty midfield if they play like that and stay fit. But it's the DM area, Fabinho, if we get this 40 million for him, I'd drive him there myself.
Oh, that's a charge. Okay, that's a charge.
40 mil, I mean.
No brainer, man.
Look, Fabinho was quality, but
that's 15 charges automatically to Liverpool. The science scandal.
Hold on. Sorry, 40 million for Fabinho, for me, is not as bad because he is only 30, and despite his last maybe 18 months before that, he's very damn good, and he's only 30.
Yeah.
You man are after 20 for Henderson. That is 100 charges.
Yeah, the Henderson stuff. I've already said it. I'd let Henderson just go. I'll just let him.
But I still see something. Look, we just had this conversation on Battle of the North. I was actually backing Hussam for the first time in my life. Yeah, so I actually understand why you might not want Fabinho to go yet because you've had Milner go. Henderson's going. If you let Fabinho go as well, that's 3 experienced midfielders going when you're bringing in younger midfielders. I'd want to keep one of them about. And honestly, with Fabinho, I get it. If he has one more bad year, I get it. But come on, man. Surely he could be burnt out and just give him a bit of rotation and he might. Or at 30, you actually go, 30, we're done with him.
I mean, look, with the Fabinho one, articles and news reports were made about Fabinho saying the club where had no intentions. He was almost untouchable for being gone this season. And then the rumour of this bid from Saudi coming in for 40 million, I think it's just taking the club a bit by, that's hard to turn down. That's true and that happens. And apparently Fabinho, spoke to them already. They talked about contracts like they all do now. So for this club to look like they're coming in for Fabinho means they've already spoken to him and got the yes. So if that transfer happens, I think it's caught Liverpool off guard. The Henderson one's definitely caught them off guard because I never thought Henderson.
You caught the world off guard. Don't you worry, James.
I didn't think Henderson would ever leave Liverpool. To be fair, I thought he'd retire at the football club. You know, he's 33 now. He's got 2 years left on his deal. Take until he's 35. I very much would doubt Klopp. Maybe Liverpool would have signed him up to another year after that, but he probably would, 35. He hasn't got the longevity of a Milner because Milner's more of an athlete than Henderson is. Henderson's legs are already starting to go. Milner's probably quicker than Henderson now. So that's the difference there. And Henderson now being told by Klopp that he's minutes ago be taken right away next season. He ain't going to get a lot of game time. I think it's just turned Henderson's head because he's always been...
No, hold on. 700,000.
It's not actually that low, is it? It's 250.
Wow, that's who inflated that? That is
I think Neil Jones and David Lynch on the Liverpool side have already said that was the 700k real. Yeah, it's around his head as well. It's around 250 a week, or something like. It's 50% more than what he's earning now, and he's earning 140.
Well, there you go. That's turned his head. His legs are gone, and he's getting offered 50% more to play. Bro, I'm running for that.
Yeah, you let him go, but obviously it's all kicking off on some parts of it because Henderson through lockdown and all that was very big on, the LBGT community and all that sort of stuff, and he's got
all the other letters.
He wrote letter, and all that sort of stuff. So now he's getting a lot of bad vibes from all that as well, and everyone's coming for him. But look, when you're getting paid ridiculous money that's tax free, you're a human being at the end of the day. And let's face it, we all love money. Who don't like money?
Well, Maguire right now, is begging for one of them Saudi clubs to get. Literally, he's retweeting stuff from Live Golf. He fully wants that attention. But look, I get Henderson going, and I think Liverpool. It seems like almost Liverpool fans are getting what they want. Henderson's going to get more money. He's getting what he wants. Lavia though, Lavia.
I'm kind of surprised that Newcastle didn't go in for him. That screams a project. No, right? And I thought Newcastle would be but like Lavia.
They got Bruno.
But with him though, I think Saints they're looking at 50 million for him, and we're not that. We aren't there yet. We're not trying to spend so much money on certain players like that. Obviously, he's had one season at in this level, and it was a good one. But there's certain players that we don't believe that's worth the money yet, and he's one of them. I just to go back on Hendo and Fabinho, I agree with Daps. They've also let Caicedo go as well. Ox as well. These guys weren't obviously first team player or starting players, but it's still a large chunk of your midfield, isn't it?
They go
exactly. And if you now let both Hendo and Fabinho go, I would say you keep one and you sell one just for the experience, because you don't want to end up like Chelsea where you've got a bunch of strangers. You
100%.
You want to have, and as well in this league as well, like the midfield is very important. That's where the game's won basically. So you don't want to have players who don't know each other. You obviously Hendo or Fab, they know Liverpool, they know what it means to play for Liverpool. So I feel like if you lose both of them, it's a massive loss to the dressing room and to the experience of the side. So yeah.
And also, if you just drop Lavia in, would you not be a little bit worried that
a gamble?
It's a gamble.
It's a massive gamble. I like Lavia. I think he's a talent.
So do I, by the way.
I think he's a super talented footballer. Now he's not as good as Caicedo, but but I don't think there's a realm where Lavia can't get to that level as well. To be perfectly fair, I look at Caicedo. I think he's 3 years older. If Lavia played for Brighton last season, would he have stood out as much as Caicedo? Would Caicedo still got relegated with Southampton? Roles were reversed. I don't think they're the same level of player. But I don't think Lavia's like a million miles behind him at 19 years of age. I think he's super talented. There's a lot of big clubs looking at him. I think City got a buyback on him for the following year, I believe.
Yeah, next year. Yeah.
So obviously City saw something in him to put a buy in there. So I would like him, but I'd rather get a more experienced DM right now and get Lavia as well. So then you got You got Lavia who can come in, because the weight of the shirt is a lot. Playing for Southampton's okay because you're not in the media spotlight as much. As soon as he comes in at Liverpool, he's got the world attention on him. And if Fabinho goes and he's their new number 6, you're replacing Fabinho. You go playing for Liverpool. That's a lot of pressure on the young kid.
100%.
And I don't know if he, would he be able to handle it? I don't know because I don't know what he's like personally wise, mentally wise. But I'd rather get an experienced DM, get Lavia in where they can interchange. Lavia gets to know the club. He doesn't have to go in there straight away. He can build in slowly like Klopp likes to do with his midfielders. And then eventually in the next few years, he's the number 1, number 6 going in forward. That's what Liverpool should do. They should be more proactive. Liverpool are too reactive. They only wait to do something when everyone's gone instead of looking to the future and being more proactive. And that's what I want my club to start doing a bit more.
I think you try to be a bit proactive with Carvalho, Elliot, to like having.
But they're bums.
Elliot's good though, man.
Elliot's all right. He's just never played in his right position. That's probably that's the problem.
He's a winger. He's not a midfielder.
Yeah. But one thing I want to say on Lavia, which is what you said spot on. Like it's a different ball game. Going from playing where in a team in like Southampton where there's less pressure. Obviously, every team wants to win. But Liverpool is different. It's different. Like there's Liverpool, Man City, Man United. I feel like those 3 clubs in the Premier League that right now the pressure is kind of different. And for him to go there at such a young age with such a big price tag as well, because obviously they're demanding 50 million for him. So, and which means that you're not going to have a player sitting on the bench that you spent a lot of money. Not Liverpool. You guys don't spend money on players like that. So if you're going over 45 million for someone, it means they're coming to play at the start, and if it doesn't work out, then obviously Klopp might take him out. But I think it's a massive jump for him to go in there and to be the main DM. So obviously, like teams like Brighton, for example, and like Caicedo as well, is different. He will realize himself. Obviously, when he goes to these bigger clubs, it's a different kind of pressure. I feel he's a bit more equipped than Lavia. Because he's got some experience, I've seen more of him and having more of an impact in games against the bigger sides than Lavia has. So, but yeah, it's different ball game playing in that role, that 4-dog role for a massive club like Liverpool.
I agree, but I do think Liverpool do get him. I think there's too much there now. I think Liverpool will go and get him, because they see a lot in him and they don't want to lose him to another team. So, but my problem is, it's just, I would keep Henderson over Fabinho. I know people will go mad at this, right?
Yeah, man.
I've said it the last 2 years now. I was one of the only Liverpool fans actually. When we was at trying to go for the quadruple that year, Fabinho weren't great. He was getting carried by everyone. He was mainly getting carried by Thiago when he was fit next to him a lot of that season. And I saw it then. And then last season, the fall off. Man, the man's 29 and he's fallen off so badly. Well, apparently he's 29. So, fake passports and all that stuff. I just don't. I've said this on my channel. Are Liverpool go out to Fabinho of 3 years ago, which was quality? Is that Fabinho going to come back? If he's not going to come back and we're Liverpool Football Club, why do we want him still? If Fabinho and Henderson were on the market right now, and Liverpool and someone went, Liverpool will go and buy Fabinho and Henderson this summer, the fan base would be in an outrage. Like, why are we buying these two? They're washed. But a lot of the fan base still want both players to stay at the club. It's really confusing. I don't get it. But Henderson, look, if he does stay, my problem with Henderson right now, if he does stay at the football club, I don't know who he stays captain.
I don't know who's going to be your captain, to be fair.
Virgil.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
We had that conversation the other day.
Virgil.
Do you know what? I just say, because I do think you said Lavia's a risk, right? And I agree with you. I think Lavia's a risk. I do rate Lavia. But you also made a really good point that sometimes you have to. Do you know what? Vardy to sit is a risk for however much we're going to pay for him, right? Because it's going to be about 90, 95, 100 million potentially. That's a risk. You made a really good point that Lavia is someone that a lot of clubs are looking at, including we do have a buyback clause on him. So at that price, yeah, it's a risk, but you are also potentially removing a potential world-class DM from the market. and getting him at a young age. So I have to give that, because I don't know, it's weird. And I also asked the question, why did Pep let him go when he's kept McAtee around the team, loaned him out, brought him back, Foden around the team, Rico Lewis around the team, Cole Palmer around the team?
Problem or something?
Or sometimes maybe Pep might, and this is the thing, I've been asking the question on Twitter and everyone's coming back thinking I'm slandering Lavia. I'm not, I'm asking a question. And someone said to me, maybe Pep's got it wrong. And I'm like, yeah, that's a valid
He let Sancho go. He didn't let
Sancho go, you know. He didn't let Sancho go.
Oh,
he offered Sancho a
go,
contract and Sancho walked. Yeah, Sancho fully wanted to go.
It was like the right decision now when you look at it.
But in hindsight, because I think you'll probably have to pay about 45 for him, because you have to remember,
pay 50. No one.
Whatever the thing is, whatever Southampton get, they have to give City a percentage of it. So that's why Southampton are probably trying to hold out for X amount, because they know, I can't remember what percentage it is. It works out if it's 50, City would get 9 million. That they want that. But I think it is a risk, but you have to take risks in football. So
you do sometimes. I think we should just go for it, man. Just go for it.
Fraud, man. This guy's such a fraud.
What's up?
No,
Ben
you know
Jacobs?
Ben Jacobs.
I knew it'd be Ben Jacobs.
Ben Jacobs.
Someone asked the other day, what's he done to you?
Nothing. I just don't like frauds. Stop commenting stuff and getting people excited over your fraudish tweets. Like the one in Henderson said he's not going nowhere, and now he's deleted it all of a sudden. You know, it's all deleted. What a fraud, man. Guy is such a tapping merchant. It's unreal in his own way. He gets on my nerves, man. His face just, it annoys me. His face just annoys me. It looks like a rat. Anyways, man. I want to say, though, with this Moises Caicedo thing, do you reckon he's got legs if you're going to get money? You reckon you'll switch attention? Because this whole Chelsea thing is stalling, and it's not like any journalist did it. It was Graham Bailey. Graham Bailey has some sort of, some credibility in the bank. He's not awful.
Graham Bailey's all right, you know.
I don't mind him too tough. I can't remember who he used to work for before 90 minutes as well. So 90th minute football. I just think that this could be something, and it's not. If he goes to your team, then it kind of elevates the whole situation there. But what's the difference between getting Caicedo, who's had a year and a half of football, or getting Lavia, who's only had a year of football in Premier League? Like, what's the risk value on all that?
I think Caicedo's just he's a little bit more. I think he's a little bit more streetwise as well at the moment. Yeah. He's a little bit better. He's got that. That 3 years makes up, you know. And I just feel like he's got a bit more experience than him. He's better. Let's not beat around the bush. I know there's a lot of Liverpool fans say, "Oh, Lavia's just as good because we're going for Lavia." Let's talk sense here. You know, Lavia's a great prospect, and he could get better than Caicedo in a few years' time. But again, it's a gamble. You're not quite sure. But Caicedo looks ready. And look, his teammates there already in McAllister, they were great together for Brighton. You know, McAllister, Caicedo, and Szoboszlai in the midfield three with Trent behind them. I mean, that's.
Does that potentially have could that potentially be one of the best midfields in the league if that is the form? When you think of that,
isn't it? It's a risky
no,
isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not. For me, no.
No.
Because I'm saying no because obviously Szoboszlai, we've not seen him in this league yet, so we've got a judgment on that. McAllister and Caicedo, like I say, the jump from Brighton to Liverpool is huge. And I would need to see them play together first before coming to that conclusion. And also because obviously one of them hasn't played with the other two. It's a fresh midfield in a fresh team, and that's why I'll say no. It will be too early to call that.
It has a potential for the future, but not straight away. But McAllister, the only thing I'll say about McAllister, I think that playing for Liverpool won't affect him so much because, let's face it, he plays for Argentina, man, and he stands out for Argentina. Yeah. And he weren't going hiding, you know, like Enzo Fernandez at the World Cup. He was the midfielder, you know. He was Argentina's best midfielder, and he was fantastic. And I've been liking this guy for a while now, and 24 years of age as well, 25, perfect age. I think he will settle in straight away, but I do think Szoboszlai might take a while, you know, to settle in. But do
you know what? I just said this on Matisse's channel. I said anyone that's trying to say McAllister, someone said McAllister's risk. I said, nah, not hearing that. McAllister's not a risk. McAllister, especially for the price, is a good signing there. For me, I'm still not convinced on Trent in that position, right?
No.
Look, let me be clear on Trent. Any team with Alexander Trent should find a way to allow Trent to do exactly what Trent does. Yeah,
I agree.
Mold your team around Trent. Trent is that damn good at what he does that mold your team around Trent. If he plays right back but needs cover, give him cover, right? Because it worked for Liverpool when he had cover. If you're going to play him there, no problem, but have the cover. You have to give him cover. The only thing is, everyone's going on. Look, for England, he looked great against Malta, and who was the other team?
Who cares?
Exactly. And then the back end of the season for Liverpool, he looked good in that role. But again, if you look at the teams they played in that period, you're not telling me they were world beaters, right? Now, Trent in that role can influence the game, 100%. But in that role, when you're not influencing the game and you have to defend, Trent's reading of the game to play in a kind of 6 role is not good enough to read the game to defend well. And that's my only concern with Trent in that role, is the sample size isn't big enough to all of a sudden say Trent sitting next to whoever the 6 is works perfectly. Sample size is small.
No, do you know what as well? Yeah, and big up, so I'm back now. I had to do an update. I think touching on it as well, I don't know if you did or not, but having Trent in that role, Daps, as well, when you're aiming where you are, Jamie, right? And forget last season, we're talking about this season, with the signings you're heading towards at the moment, and if you get a centre back in and you get one more midfielder, I'll be honest with you, I think Liverpool are up there in terms of Arsenal and City, in terms of you want to be challenging for the title. I think that's where Liverpool aims are. I think that's where Jurgen Klopp's aims are. But I think if you're going into a season, right, and I'm not saying that Trent can't play there. I think when you're playing teams at home that you're going to dominate and stuff like that, he can play in that role. And I think you'll see a lot of the ball and he'll be able to shine. But if you're playing big teams and you're playing Trent in that role, if you do lose the Fabinho and Hendersons, and then you get a Lavia in, for example, I'm going to say that's more likely than Caicedo right now. In terms of experience, when you're talking about challenging for a Premier League, and then obviously potentially the year after going back into the Champions League, I feel like with Trent, you need that experience there, which Henderson, I'm not the biggest fan of Henderson myself, but I remember when Trent was thriving as a right back, every time he bombed forward, I think that Crystal Palace away game was always the reference to on Monday Night Football. Henderson was always filling in at right back because he was like, you know what, I'm going to allow Trent to do what he's best at for Liverpool, and I'm going to sacrifice myself, but for the team's results. And it worked. It did for 3 or 4 years. If you don't have the Henderson or Fabinho's in there and Trent's playing that role, is Lavia, despite how good he's going to be, is he experienced enough to say, right, you know what, I'm going to take this by the scruff of the neck and you're going to be able to trust him? I don't think that Liverpool fans have a doubt in terms of him long term, but if you're aiming to challenge for a title or go to where you want to be, is Lavia going to be able to come in and be that guy next to Trent, and you're going to be like, do you know what, I 100% feel secure? And I think that's why losing the 2 midfielders like that is a big thing for Liverpool, because you kind of do want to replace it with a bit of experience, but obviously the price of players now and who's actually available in the market isn't really there. So no matter what, if you get a Caicedo, who I think is a very good player, he's still 23, 24. If you get a Lavia, he's only like 19 or whatever he is. So no matter what, Trent's probably going to be surrounded by a bit of inexperience. And do you feel like that's good enough to still help you go back to winning or challenging for a Premier League?
Yeah, next season we got a challenge because of the way who we are, and we've got Klopp and everything, and the players we got. We have to challenge, there's no doubt about that. But it's how close we can get. Now, I think the players we are buying right now are built around getting the best out of Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think that's what we're trying to do. I think that's what Klopp's trying to do. He's trying to get players that will find space for Trent to get into. So say Szoboszlai's playing, in this box formation or 4-3-3 or whatever it is, and he's playing on that inside right position, allowing Salah to go through the central areas or drift out a little wider,
like for like,
and get Trent in their open areas. You're going to get the best out of Trent Alexander-Arnold. And I think that's what Klopp's trying to do, get the best out of him, because let's face it, I know rival fans sometimes hate us talking about Trent, but the man's quality. There's no doubt about it. With the ball at his feet, the man is different. And yeah, he's defending and all that. His defending's always been the same, but we won everything with Trent at right back. So it's not like it's shocking, you know what I mean? And he did it when he was 19 and 20. So
it's undeniable, bro. It's not. Listen, if people want to have a conversation about who's a better right back and they want to talk about the defending element, that's a different conversation. If you want to talk about how much Trent can impact a game, it's undeniable. Like look, there's flaws with De Bruyne, right? But De Bruyne impacts games. Trent is very similar as far as impacting games. Like that's the truth. In Trent's best seasons, the number of assists he gets from right back is mad. So look, it is what it is. There's no debate on that. The right back thing, but I don't know. That's why I'm saying we've got to see how Liverpool look with Trent sitting next to.
I'm waiting for your pre-season, man. I'm waiting.
Yeah. I do think Liverpool. If Liverpool get one more player, I do think they can challenge. By the way, as well. But
I agree. I'll run up the light. I'm going to run up the lights. I'm going to come to you straight away. Let me just. I was going to ask you something as well. Guys, over 500 of you in here. Please run up the likes. When you go in your house, you take your shoes off. When you come into the stream, you like the video. That's what you've got to do, people, man. You know what the rules are, man. It's Friday night. We're giving you great content, proper football conversation as well. So make sure you help us push out the channel to more people. So now I do appreciate that. Smash up the likes and get your super chats in as well. We'll make sure we'll be reading them throughout the show as well. And you can subscribe to Jamie's channel down below as well. It's in the description there.
And
so make sure you go and support. And Uggs' channel as well. Oh, I love that. And Uggs' as well. Who's a Newcastle fan, but obviously talks all things football as well. Uggs, I wanted to ask you a question and still land on what you want to say. Because I was going to say, as much as we talk about Trent and Liverpool's midfield signings, for me, if Trent is to go into midfield, as we've seen so far, centre-back issue at Liverpool Football Club. Obviously, you've got a Joe Gomez, you've got Matip at the moment. I think Gomez is probably on the way out, despite his injuries. He's been unlucky. I think Matip has been a very good servant for Liverpool, solid 7 out of 10s every week, but he's still getting a bit older. I think it's actually imperative that Liverpool get a right centre-back in, or at least a centre-back, because can they go into the season relying on a Konate and Van Dijk, with Van Dijk obviously still getting himself back to where he was, you know, staying fit for a whole season. So I think as much as Trent going into midfield, can they rely on the centre-backs? You can compare it to Man City. Okay, Laporte might be leaving, but it was Laporte, it was Diaz, it was Stones, they might get Pavard. Yeah, they've got the depth. Akanji coming in, having a great season despite the doubts. Daps is in that position where, okay, we have 4 or 5 solid centre-backs. Liverpool actually have 2 right now. So what do you think on that side of it?
It's mad you're even saying that, because that was exactly what I was going to say. Literally, what we just said. And why, obviously, Trent, there was a point where I was saying Trent's the best right back in the world. I love how good this guy is on the ball. He's a joke, yeah. But I feel like why it wouldn't work with Liverpool is because Liverpool don't have the centre backs that like Man City have. So for that to work, and I watched a few games last season, towards the back end of the last season, when Liverpool tried to move Trent into that inverted role, but they didn't have a solution to when he wasn't in his right back position. And so teams were sort of finding that hole. Whereas with Man City, they've got 3 natural centre halves. So Akanji, Stones, and Ake. And for example, when John Stones goes in that midfield, I feel like Pep, what he's done, he's realised my centre backs are better at defending than anybody else. So I can trust the right center, the right and the left guy to defend against, I don't know, against players who can cause them problems. So I feel like with Liverpool, they don't have that right now. They've got, like you said, only Virgil and Konate, who's injury prone. Joe Gomez is shy off the Gomez that we saw when they won the league, and Joe Matip can't stay fit. So I feel like if you want to do that system, you've got to sort out your defense first. You've got to have the players to do that, and then that will let Trent literally just sit in that role. Because when I watched John Stones, he doesn't go back really into defense as much, because you have those 3 centre halves there, whereas Liverpool, they want Trent to sort of move in and then move back out again, and that for him will cause him some confusion. And then that obviously it's not a shape where it's consistent. You know, if things are always changing. So that's why I'm saying I don't feel like it works for Liverpool based on what I've seen and based on the players that they have in defence.
I think it's valid to say on Konate and Matip as well. And
go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you just made a good point that, and this is an issue at Liverpool is the injuries, because Konate and Matip have both had a lot of injuries, and then even if you look in midfield, you know, Thiago and his injuries, and
Joe Gomez is injury prone too, man.
Joe Gomez injury prone as well. I actually think all of them, by the way, I think Konate, I think Matip, and Joe Gomez, if he's their 4th choice, that's not a bad selection.
Yeah,
but the problem is They're never all fit. There's always injuries in there. And I think
Daps, do they go in? Do you think Daps and Caicedo actually go in and get a centre back?
Because Jamie, I don't know. Jamie,
they are. They're targeting a left-footed centre back. If they get a Nasso, I'm gonna scream.
No,
Scream. It's got a release clause. They love a release clause. It's like 38.7 million pounds or something.
That's a proper Liverpool deal. That.
We can't get him because we've already upset Sporting, so they won't talk to us again.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. We upset Sporting by the Ugarte stuff.
Oh,
yeah. Klopp peed them off, so they won't talk to us again.
But I can't.
Who would you want, though, Jamie? Do you have someone in your head, right? Being realistic,
yeah.
Who do you say?
I'll just go to Chelsea and rob that guy. You know what I mean? I
literally kidnap him.
I do think Chelsea will sell him if the price is right. I really do.
If he pushes for a move, he already said that he would.
He's the one I'd go for. Again, you've got to future-proof your defence for the next 8 years.
Costs you a lot, though, bro.
So basically, what you're doing...
but if he's there for 8 years, it's worth it, isn't it?
That's what they're doing. That's what Liverpool doing. They robbed Southampton back in the day for their players. Now they're just robbing Brighton. It's like, he looks good.
There's very good players.
Bring him as well.
There's very good players at all these clubs. Scouting's just got to be better. That's all it is, because there's great players everywhere. But Liverpool, look, with Virgil, I would give Virgil the benefit of doubt because who he is. Like he could have had just a bad year, and I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. Kanate, he's only going to get better and better. He's growing into his role now. Matip was a tremendous defender. There was no doubt about that.
You Nat Phillips?
He's going to lose only for 9 mil, so he's off.
That's not. I can get 9 million for him, and then Rob Holding's getting offers for 2.5 million euros. Oh, that's a mockery.
But then again, Cass, look at Liverpool. They sold Jordan Ibe for like. They sold, and then Brad Smith, whatever was to Bournemouth, they for like 12 million. It's crazy. Liverpool make great sales, to be fair.
Did they have Solanke at some point? No, they
didn't. Yeah, they did.
22 million to Bournemouth. Yeah,
22 million.
Sold Brewster for 20 million to Sheffield United.
Oh my! I forget that one. See, they all go under the radar.
Let me ask Ugg something, right? The same issue. I'm on Newcastle. I'm not letting you lot breathe. Harvey Barnes stinks, bro. And when you got Princess Diana there as cover as well, stinks. And now we're talking about your right back and your left back. You got Dan Burn running into the Champions League. No cover. Still nothing going on with Livramento. Remember, he was hyping at 12 million. No, they want that. They want double. They want double that. And I'm hearing you have to sell Maximan to fund someone like Harvey Barnes. That smells. Left, right, and center.
Yeah, I'm actually intrigued to what he thinks about Newcastle. Yeah, I'm intrigued actually, especially.
It's mad still. So there's a lot to unpack with Newcastle and with me, to be fair to you. And so this for me now is going to be therapy. But what I do now is I trust the club. I trust Eddie Howe. Whereas before if this was under Mike, actually, I'm going mad. So if you want to look at, I don't know, the last 18 months signings that we've made, they've been shrewd signings, and it's given a lot of fans some confidence and patience. So I trust that they know what we need. I trust Eddie Howe, and that's it. But I definitely feel like we need a left back. Dan Burn is on the verge of pulling his hamstring because he can't. He's not a natural left back, but Eddie Howe prefers him because obviously when Trippier goes forward, we have 3 centre halves defending: Dan Burn, Botman, and Shaw. But obviously going forward, it's a liability because we don't have that attacking fullback on that side. So we definitely do need left back. Matt Target. I think with Matt Target is at the beginning of the season he wasn't fit. But why are you laughing?
I just don't understand that you got the Champions League with these garbage players, man.
But for us now, the thing is about building our squad. Listen, the same people that laughed at us last season are the same people now thinking, well, like Newcastle, we're serious now. And like I was saying, I trust what they're trying to do. Obviously, us fans and more so people like you guys are gonna think to yourselves, we got all the money in the world, and we're in Champions League. Go buy some players. But I don't think it's
not forced them to come in it like Tonali.
It's as easy as people think, because like it's a different game now, and like people like UEFA or I don't know the Premier League now, they're stamping out on certain things, and we don't want to sort of go down the wrong way like Daps' team have done in previous seasons. Disguising money put in by the owners as sponsorship deals. So we don't want to go down that route and sort of do that. So we're trying to invest in the club, in our facilities, shirt sponsors, doing a tournament in our home ground, and just doing things differently to then fund these moves. But definitely a left back needed. Definitely I'd say 2 forwards. Harvey Barnes for me. I like Harvey Barnes. I noticed that a lot of Newcastle fans weren't pleased about obviously us being linked to him. But if you look at him last season, he scored more Premier League goals just last season than Saint-Maximin has in his whole Premier League career. So
his productivity in terms of numbers has always been quite consistent, if I'm honest. In a Leicester team that was still him and Maddison, I know Barnes had a few injuries, but he performs well in a Leicester team that really is on a slide.
Do you know sorry.
Go on.
I've spoken to quite a few Leicester fans when I had them on my channel for games and that, and they don't rate Harvey Barnes that much. A lot of Leicester fans, they don't rate Harvey, and I've always said I like Harvey Barnes, and they always say, Leicester fans always say rival fans always really rate him, but Leicester fans don't, and I don't know why, but I think he's a good player. Look, he's better than Saint-Maximin. I've never understood Saint-Maximin, I've got to say.
I wouldn't say better, because obviously
I like Saint-Maximin. Injuries just get the better of him.
No. I wouldn't say better. I wouldn't say. I personally wouldn't sell Saint-Maximin to get in Harvey Barnes. I would keep them. I would have both of them.
Yeah, that's what I thought you was gonna something like do along them, like, because you know what, your mic's on mute.
That's your mute.
If you didn't have
Ty's ready to beef Jamie over this.
Yeah, if you didn't have Anthony Gordon and then if you didn't have Anthony Gordon and just didn't buy him, and then you just got Harvey Barnes and then had that same, I think that's wicked. I think that's, you know what, fair play.
Yeah.
But the fact that you got Anthony Gordon there as your prize left winger coming forward, I'm thinking, why are you getting a Harvey Barnes when you need to focus on the right when you got Almiron and nobody else over there? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, the depth is such an issue at the club right now. And I know in the next 2 years, you know it. The next 2 years, Newcastle won't be this conversation isn't going to be that conversation.
What?
Like, no, because in 2 years' time, you're going to have all the depth in the world. You're going to have class players. You might even have a manager for all we know. But I'm just saying, I like Eddie Howe and he's doing bits. But I just think like when the way I look at Newcastle is I'm putting you on a pedestal, and I know it's easy to go, but we was there 18 months ago. And then now we're here, and it's hard to grasp, right? Like that you're actually there. That's all I'm trying to put. Is like, how do you keep yourselves there when everyone's spending 200 million?
I'm actually glad you say that, Cass, yeah, because I was actually going to ask Uggs, yeah, in terms of you've got a Sandro Tonali, whether people say he's happy to be there or not, he's at the club, right? So you've got a midfielder in Sandro Tonali.
Stop that agenda. He's happy to be there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you know when you see it online, if people in the comments here now are saying like Tonali's been forced, he's there, 60 million. Let's see what he can do. And I think once he's playing and he feels that St James's crowd, that's going to hit. That's different, and you know what I mean. And they're going to back him his own. There's no better fans than sort of Newcastle fans are backing a player. And well, what my question was for you, yeah, is that for example, where you signed a Dan Burn last year, and then you got the Nick Pope, for example, from Burnley. He's a very good keeper in terms of what he does, but you got them sort of 10 to 20 million pound signings because you wanted to, get a good squad, good harmony, and they've overachieved in terms of getting top 4 when you didn't expect it in your first season under Eddie Howe. Now you've got Tonali in, yeah, in terms of, like I say, a 50, 60 million pound signing. You're saying you want a left back, which I definitely agree with. You're probably looking at a Harvey Barnes, like you said, a left wing, and then potentially other positions. I think like a centre back to maybe help with Sven Botman and Fabian Schär. In terms of the quality now that you've set out in terms of getting Tonali, do you want to see your club now go for more players of that quality in different positions? Or are you happy for Eddie Howe? Because you said you trust him. Are you happy for Eddie Howe to go and get them 50 million pound signings again to sort of bridge the gaps? Or you like, no, do you know what? You've got the bar now with Tonali. Not saying you're going to spend 70 million pound on every player, but the quality of the player. Do you want to maintain them standards now? Are you happy for them squad players like Dan Burn and that to still come in? Now you've got Champions League.
Yeah, I've always said from the end of last season that this season we need 4 Brunos, and by that I mean 4 players of his quality.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and that was left back, obviously, probably a winger, maybe a centre mid, which we have now, and somewhere else where Eddie Howe would feel like we needed one. So a right winger. So I felt like we needed 4 players of that level to help us compete, because obviously it's a different ball game now. We're playing Champions League football, and we're in pot 4, so we're gonna have to play our strongest side in Champions League and also play our strongest side in the Premier League too. So we're gonna have to compete heavily on both fronts, and I understand that. I know that we have all the money in the world, so if we could spend it, we would spend it. But I feel like there's something that's holding us back from spending that. Maybe it's because we don't generate enough revenue to show.
You're mute again.
There's something. You're spot on with this, because I watch it from a City point of view, right? And obviously, you've learned from
exactly.
You've skipped a phase of City. I'll say, like, you're ahead of the curve, right? You're 100%. Ahead of the curve, 100%. I do feel like there must be a reason, and you know what? People can criticize Newcastle. I'm not one of them, by the way. I'm a big Newcastle fan of the way they're going about everything. Eddie Howe's proven me wrong. I thought he was going to be a bit like Mark Hughes. No, he's definitely he could be really good, man. He could be really damn good. But there seems to be something that is holding you back. Now, it's interesting on the Harvey Barnes one, because I get what Cass is saying. I put Newcastle on a level where I think you're better than Harvey Barnes. But then Kendall was on it and she's saying, but he's not coming in to be our marquee signing. He's not coming in to be he's a squad player.
Yeah.
And that makes perfect sense. And when people go, and the thing is that
100%.
maybe why you've got that done is because it's an easy deal to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, someone else will get him. Then you'll end up having to get a similar level player for about 55 million, whereas you're getting him for. So I get it. I just feel exactly what you said, that there's something there. Now, it could be because of what's going on at City that you lot are going, let's just avoid that. But
said that as
by
well.
any means, let's just avoid this because it's a headache and we don't want that.
Yeah.
But what do you think it is? Because there is something holding you back. Or do you think it's Eddie Howe going, no, I like the team spirit. I like the way this is. And I don't want to bring in a Rubinho that's going to throw everything out. And
I said that literally when you walked off away. I said that I feel like we would have learned from Man City, and
that's why I walked off.
And
no, not really.
we aren't trying to do that, trying to break rules and trying to overspend on money that we don't have. So I feel like that's one, because like I said, we got all the money in the world, and if just look at what the Saudi league in itself is doing, to football. The owners of our club, they're the Saudi state. So
yeah, they've got a lot of money.
It's a joke. It's a joke. So it's like what's holding us back, I think, is that, and also the fact that Eddie Howe and the club, we want to sign players who actually want to play for the club, honest players.
That's huge.
I think and not go and get that player. I froze, yeah.
Yeah, you froze, but we got what you said. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, and not get that player who probably is going to come to us just for the money and just because now we're in Champions League. So it's a bit of both. We've got to mix the honest signings with the quality signings together, and it's about trying to balance that.
Yeah, I think. Look,
you know what?
You're spot on. Spot on. That's Zabaleta said it about when he first came in at City, that there were certain players there. And in hindsight, we can look back now and we know the players that were there because they believed in Hughes at the time, then Mancini, they believed in the project. And then there were the players that were there for money. Yeah. And the ones that were there probably stayed there for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. The other ones were gone in 2 years. So I do think you're learning. And also I like what you said about getting 4 Bruno level players. Yeah. So what would you go for? You'd go for a left back?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't know who we can get. I wanted Grimaldo from Benfica because he was on a free transfer.
He went to Leverkusen.
Yeah. So I wanted him. The others, I'm not pretty sure who were linked.
I think he definitely need a centre back. By the way,
I think centre back next to Botman, and they're solid.
Yeah. Like Shah's done his thing, but I'm on about top level now. 2 games a week. You want another centre back alongside Botman.
We're linked with a few. But again, with me and this whole transfer stuff, I try to stay away from it as possible. because a lot of people are going to make stories, and Newcastle fans, they're like sponges because obviously they've for them and for me myself, it's like dreamland. But with me, it's like I don't have the energy to give to these fake news, so I stay away and I only tune in when I see it's probably progressing. So I've seen us linked with, I think there's this French centre back that we're battling with Man United for.
Gazazi from Monaco.
Yeah, from Monaco, exactly. Yeah.
That could be. Do you know what? That could work. His age, 24, captain Monaco, ready to go to Newcastle, be passionate, with it. Like he stayed loyal to Monaco for a while. I think that could.
Hey, how about this? You take Maguire, we take the Sassy. We give it.
See, I was watching Cass. The minute you said that, Cass is now invested again.
I'm not being funny. You want someone that's been in the Champions League. There you go. There's one of them. You want a guy that's English. Eddie Howe loves a Brexit player. Right there. How about this? We'll even pay off the rest of his wages so you can pay him.
Don't want him. I don't want him. But
I don't think Newcastle fans would want him. Yeah,
of course not. Because we're a team that's going up, going forward. Yeah. And I wanted a natural number 4. Whether Tonali is that sort of player, I'm not sure. Right. I don't think he is. I think he's similar to Bruno. So I'll be interested to see how Eddie Howe balances that.
I am.
A left winger, I wanted Diaby or Kudus from Ajax.
Okay, Mohamed Kudus. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so
those sort of players.
He's a cheap deal, Brighton were looking at him.
I know.
I like that shout, Kudus. And he's versatile as well,
And
exactly,
He quoted him like 25, 30 million.
35 million, yeah.
And then you seen Diaby go into what's it?
And you know what? The good thing is, Lucas, you was even saying with Almiron on the right hand side and Jacob Murphy, Diaby can play on the right hand side, so that actually gives you another bit of depth as well. But
Diaby's like Villa. Villa is Emery's pushing for this man. He is.
And I saw 35 million or 40 million.
Yeah.
Rejected though. They're gonna have to end up paying 50 million.
They're gonna have to end up paying more. I think it's gonna be interesting. Do you know what? I'm just gonna run up the likes and we're gonna go into Man City because we've already done 50 minutes, guys. 500 of you here. Make sure you do keep smashing the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're new as well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you support Uggs and Jamie. Their channels are down below. Obviously, you're here watching us. You can support them as well. And keep liking this video because as Daps always says and I say and Cass says, it pulls us out to new people and you get to see guests as well like this coming on the show. So thank you for supporting it. One thing I just wanted to mention quickly, Uggs, before I do move on to Man City is that I found it interesting that so far, Tonali's been your big signing. And last year, it was Isaac for 60 million. And when Daps was talking about what the reason is maybe potentially to you not signing so many players yet, I was wondering if Newcastle are going in the process of signing one big player every summer so far. Because it was Isaac and now it's Tonali. And maybe.
Just quickly, just quickly, what I want to say is that, but what I feel like we should do, but what we're not doing is that we've got to capitalize on this opportunity of Champions League. So I don't feel like we're going to be in top 4 again next season. So now that we're in Champions League, this is the opportunity to get the quality players that we might not get next season or the year after, because teams are going to get better. And for us, like we say, that last season we played that out of our skin. So now we're here. We got to invest to stay here.
Very true.
A bit more difficult than we thought.
Then if you don't get Champions League, then players are still here next season for the bounce back.
Exactly, to compete.
Yeah. What are you going to say, Daps? Then we'll go on to City.
Yeah, one thing I would say that. Right, so Newcastle, I think they're trying to get players exactly like I said that want to be there, not players that you have to twist their arm there. So, by the way, with I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, I'll get it wrong. But the Italian guy you've got, anyone that's trying to say he didn't want to be there and all that nonsense, allow it, man. Anyone that's saying that, rivals, are you already rattled by Newcastle that much that you're already saying that, right? But I will be honest with you that when you are trying to attract, not all, but some foreign players to England, they know London, right? Yeah. They know, and however much we try and say this city is beautiful and that 100%, London is one of my worst cities, but everyone knows it, right? They want to be in London, right? Trying to sell Newcastle to some people, especially when you have to understand people's other halves have a say, is not easy, right? But what I will say is that will become a lot easier. Everyone you get, everyone that goes there and says how nice, how good the customers, how good they're treated. And also, we know the way the Saudis move. Your city will be invested in. Your city will get better by them, And so, but I think you're going about it right. But it is going to be harder. People don't understand. Attracting some players to teams that are not in the capital is harder, right? it's harder. It's factually people want to be in London. So Newcastle have just got to get it right, man. But I think they will. I think they will. And by the way, next season, if you finish 5th, you still get Champions League football. So you should be all right.
Mate, if you lead with Harvey Barnes and just a backup right back and nothing else, you're finishing 7th. You're finishing 7th or 8th, guaranteed, man.
By the way, he's got an agenda against Newcastle.
Cassie, you bring the mind, yeah.
You got to keep every same energy for all the clubs. One game a week, Chelsea, right? You got Liverpool back on the queue. Man United, like we talk about the same energy for Man United. I don't see Man United finishing top 4, but Newcastle do. On what basis, bruv? Because of last season, who we finished above, even though we had Europa League. People don't. This is what you fans got to get used to. Playing intense ball on a Wednesday or Tuesday is different.
I know.
And that's all I'm trying to get across. Not you specifically, Uggs.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to, because I hear it. Don't sleep on Newcastle. Maybe not next. But if you only come with 2 signings, it's not good enough. You need about 5.
I don't think they get top 4 right now, Cass, based off what
obviously
it is right
Arsenal, Man City on their own wavelength compared to most right now as it currently stands. But you can't forget about the Chelsea. People forget about Chelsea. You're sleeping on Chelsea right now. You're forgetting about Liverpool right now. Man United are going to make more signings.
Okay, Kat, let me spin it on you then. Let me ask you a question then. Okay, because even though I know you're a Man United fan, but if you take that hat off, yeah, and I want to see what Uggs thinks.
It's not a Man United hat. I'm just
no, that's what I'm saying. No, you're not. That's what I'm saying. Like, forget Man United for a second, even in this as well, because we're kind of in the same boat of we're going into the Champions League now. And we still want to get top 4 next season. Newcastle was an Uggs fan. He wants to get that, but he's admitting, do you know what? We're probably going to fall short. So if Newcastle sign a couple players, let's say 2 more players this window, and then they don't finish in the top 4, they do all right in the Champions League, maybe get to the first round of the knockouts and get last 60 and then get knocked out by a bigger side, but they finish in the top 6. I wouldn't look at Eddie Howe and say, oh my God, you know what, Newcastle regressed badly. I still think he'll be all right, because I still think top 6 would still be a solid season for them. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I said that as well. If they get 6th, it's solid. My
thing on it.
I just don't see them finishing top 6.
Yeah, what do you think, Jamie?
Right now, as it stands.
Well, with Newcastle, I look at the manager. I look at Eddie Howe, and he's never coached a team in the Champions League, and this is going to be a new experience for him as well. And it's how he deals with it. Now, if Newcastle finish 6th, Eddie Howe's done an amazing job, in my opinion, because he's never been in a European competition like that with a screw. Everyone's watching now, and more eyes are on Newcastle than ever before because of the money, because of the situation, because of this and that. And if Eddie Howe can keep Newcastle in the top 6 next season, he's done a tremendous job. And I think most Newcastle fans are sensible enough to realise that, they finished 4th probably too early last year.
Yes,
in a way,
100%.
in their path of what they're doing. So they know they're on a journey. They know they're going to be that sort of team in the future in the way of the power and money they got. So if they finish in top 6 next season, for me, it's good. It's Newcastle, man. They can't come from the dead to there in 2 years. I think most Newcastle fans agree with that.
Just one last thing, that I want to say is that I tell people all the time about Newcastle. This isn't a form, by the way. So don't think like this form's going to dip. This is a change of mentality. Like this is what Eddie Howe's done. He's changed the way the players see themselves, the way they believe in themselves. He's taken away that fear element out of them, and then they go to anywhere and believe they can win. So this isn't just form. So Jay, I agree with you when you say maybe top 6, because obviously we're still going to be competing, but there are other bigger sides who sort of weren't playing as well like last season. They will be competing too. So it's going to be harder, but we're still going to be there. We're still going to be winning it in 4 in a row and or having good runs, because this is a change of mentality. These boys now, they believe that we can go out there and beat anyone.
Don't sleep on Aston Villa next season.
I'm just waiting for Kath to say something.
Don't sleep on
this agenda is so mad.
It's not an agenda, because because we were talking about how great they did last year, which he did, to be fair. I'm not going to deny it. I didn't think he was going to do as great, but imagine Spurs get their 2 centre backs that they want.
Spurs is surprising me. Yeah.
Spurs 1 game a week. No pressure.
I'm slowly listening to Cass, and I'm seeing the Spurs thing. But that's why. Listen, I know we need to move on to City.
Yeah.
I know I have to be press resistant now because.
Do you know what? It's interesting with City. Big up everyone that's watching as well. Run up the likes, people. Like I said, still 500 of you here. Big up Simon Clark as well. He's been a member for 1 month, and he said, "Daps, you've got great hair or something, mate." So yeah, take that on a Friday. Yeah, love that. So yeah, big up for being a member for 1 month. And guys, if you want to also become a member, if you're watching and you haven't become one yet, that's down in the link below as well. We check the description. That's there for you. And then you'll get access to call-in shows once the season starts again. Chloe's here with a super chat as well. I'll get that through before we go on to City. Thank you, Chloe, for this as well. She goes, Eddie Howe must know his time is limited. He's perfect for the England job.
I love England. I would love that.
I'm not England. Yeah, but
I'll have him for England,
but he turned that down, bro.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
listen, one thing you need to know. I've said this before about, and I'm pretty confident from seeing how Newcastle are operating, but I've seen it. Vinny spoke about it at City. When you become a player for, whether it be City or Newcastle, so Arab-owned clubs, right? They are all about, anyone that's been on holiday to anyone, they know the customer service is different gravy. They want the best in everything. If they have a choice of light switches, they'll pick the most expensive one, right? They will make sure when you join there as a player or a manager, you get everything you want in life and to achieve what you need to on the pitch. If you don't achieve, there's no hard feelings. You go about your business, they go about their business. Look at Pep. There's no way we thought we were getting him more than 3 years, right? He's now in his 8th year, right? That's crazy, isn't it? And when he gets asked about, he's like, why would I leave? I've got everything I need here, right? Eddie Howe is not going to turn down this Newcastle. He's not going to leave this Newcastle job where they're backing him. They're giving him everything he needs. They're letting him have the control to do what he wants, to go and take that pressure of the damn cursed England job. Like, it's not going to happen. We'd love him.
And you're managing, and already in your first season, you're already managing in the biggest club competition in the world, in the Champions League. You're going to the Bernabeu potentially, or Barcelona.
Eddie Howe got himself ready for this job. Eddie Howe, we've spoken on it before with Kendall. Yeah. He went and did the groundwork to get himself ready for this exact damn job. Yeah. He's not walking away from this. This is built for him. So he ain't walking away from it. And come on, man. Look, I'd love, if Pep left City, I'd love him to manage England. But let's be realistic. If managers back themselves, they're kind of dodging that England role. Like, no. Oh, Cass has gone.
Yeah. Oh, he's coming. He's going to come back. He's going to come back. But over to City. Let's go over to City now, because Daps obviously is Kyle Walker out. I want you to actually firstly talk on Kyle before we get into City in the next season. You can obviously touch on Kyle Walker because he's been at the club 6 years. It's looking like he potentially might be going to Bayern. But in terms of the transfers as well, obviously Kovacic has come into the club. It's looking like Pavard might make his way in, which we're going to definitely dive a bit more deeper into. But it looks like Pep is, he's achieved the treble, right? How I've looked at it now is like he's had the main crop of players and the people that have been there with him from the get-go. And he's had a few that have joined in sort of in between, like Bernardo's, but they've been mainstays. He's now achieved the treble, and it's like, right, we've done the main objective of setting out what we wanted to do. Now I want to maintain the standards and keep the squad going. And what Pep's always good at is sort of making a few refreshments, getting a few old faces out and bringing them new faces in. Is it looking like Pep is starting to do a mini rebuild in certain areas? Is that how you're looking at it? And then we'll touch on Kyle Walker as well.
So
I want to hear what your thoughts are.
My view on it is, like, Pep's been very vocal about when we've won back-to-back retained Premier Leagues, he said it's difficult to go a third time, right? It's difficult to motivate any player to go a third time, right? But then when you talk about some of these senior players, and quite a few of them that have done a three-peat, done a treble, they're at a certain age, and then you also have to look at last season, right? How the season ended, amazing. We have to be real. In January, we were in a bad place. January, February time, we were in a bad place, right? Pep was calling out a lot of senior players, dropping a lot of senior players. And I think he was actually saying, do you know what? If I have to drop you, I think January, February, Pep already thought we might have to rebuild in the summer, right? And if need be, I'll drop you from now. No problem. Cancelo, prime example, right? No problem. You can leave in January because you aren't part of my bigger picture, so you can leave. But then you go and achieve everything. So how do you motivate players that have achieved everything? It's harder. It's harder. Yeah.
It's hard.
Now,
this is
with all of these players, I think if they don't go, we could go again, but it will be hard to motivate them. Also, in my heart of hearts, I want Pep to sign again and stay for. He's got 2 more years left. I want him to sign and stay longer. But he's just done the treble. He's won the Champions League now. We have to understand he stayed here far longer than we ever thought. At some point, Pep will leave. The difference is Pep is friends with the board. Yeah. Pep's brother owns a club with this damn board. Yeah. Pep will not leave this board in the lurch. It won't be like when Fergie left Man United and it's an aging squad. So I'm kind of looking at it right now thinking, I think this could be the season that Pep goes, if players want to go, and some of the senior players, yes, ideally we'll keep them. But if they don't want to be here, and it's going to be hard for me to motivate them next year, let them go and let's start trying to motivate these. Let's get some faces that have been starved of trophies. Let's get some faces that haven't achieved everything we've achieved, because I can motivate them. We've got the new spine coming through. We've got the Rodri. We've got the Diaz. We've got the Haaland. We've got the Foden. We've got the Grealish. We've got the new spine coming through. So let's add a bit on top of it. Look, with Walker, I'd love him to stay. One, because he's our insurance. We have to be clear. Insurance. Walker doesn't suit our system anymore. Pep said it in April, right? He doesn't. However, he is a damn good insurance. Yeah.
There's certain fixtures you want.
Plan
him
B,
in.
bro. 100%.
Carl Walker's a cheat mode, man. He's a cheat.
Yeah, he's literally, he basically is a cheat. Yeah,
he is.
Yeah.
He is.
Quality,
Look,
man.
he came in.
England's great.
So
Good riddance.
in April, Pep said currently Walker doesn't suit the system, right? But then we drew Madrid, Vinicius, Walker came into the system because he suited that game, right? And then he played against United, Rashford suited that game. But Pep's already said this summer he wants to go with the 4 centre-backs at the back again. So do you keep a player that is going to be hard to motivate and you've got a lot of respect for because he's won so much for you and he wants to go elsewhere? You don't. You let them go. One, yeah, we lose an insurance. And 2, we also lose probably the English leader in the camp. So I get there's issues, but it is what it is. Like, we can't look, players get old and whatever. We have to, if we don't refresh, then next summer we could end up being like Liverpool last season. So we kind of have
where
to
you're
do
buying
it.
too many, and Pep doesn't like to buy loads. He likes to just do the 2 or 3 every year. Drip feed.
And the hardest thing is at the moment is where we are, because Gundogan went on a free. Cool. We replaced him with cover. But then every other player that are being rumoured to move away, we need clubs to offer us money for. And until they offer us money, we can't replace them. So we're kind of sat here going, well, Barca are saying they want to take Cancelo and Bernardo Silva on loan and give us money in a couple of years. Well, Cancelo maybe, yeah. Bernardo Silva, you're not having one of the best midfielders in world football on a loan, yeah, that you're going to give us money in 2 or 3 years, and we just have to go and find a replacement all of a sudden. So it's hard. Laporte, apparently we're going to take 25 million for him because he don't want to stay in England. And at the moment, we're in a bit of a position where we're in the best position ever. We've won a treble, but at the same time, we're like, we can't rebuild until people buy our players. We're kind of sat here looking.
And then
like
you don't want to be in a position where they're buying them at the end of August, and it's like we haven't got time to then get players in.
Yeah, and you don't want to be in that. And you don't want to be.
It's a weird one. It's a very weird one for us at the moment, where it's like, because again, if we go out and start buying players while we've still got players, that everyone's going to be all over us saying, oh, look at City again, going and buying like a C team and whatever. So we kind of, and Pep don't like big squads. And I don't think Pep would also like to disrespect some of these senior players if we bring in new ones and go, by the way, you're not in the squad no more, to like Mahrez. You can't do that. So it's a weird place for us to be in. The beauty is we got Pep steering it. So
it's true. And Jamie, I wanted to ask you something, Jamie. And funny enough, obviously you look at Walker potentially leaving. You got Pavard potentially coming in. Now, you guys were linked to Pavard. And you know, when we link the chat to what we were all discussing earlier, how do we get the best out of Trent? Well, it's having the cover for him. Pavard is one of them players that we know plays right back. He can play right centre-back, and he could probably fill in that role perfectly. Now, you guys ain't going for him, and you're looking at City now that might be going for him. Do you think that would be a very good signing for City? How do you see that one going? Especially you. I don't know if you was in the camp, by the way, wanting him at Liverpool, by the way, but he was linked.
Pavard's injury record is the only thing that worries me. But he's nowhere near as good as Carl Walker. And I don't think it's a bit of a downgrade. But if Pep's interested in him, I think Pep can do something with him. There's no doubt about it. Look, Liverpool need a right back. There's no doubt about that if we want to get the best out of Trent. But I don't think Klopp sees it the way. I think Klopp just sees Trent as a right back. And I think Klopp will probably feel like he can't get a better right back in Trent. You know, you could argue that, I suppose. But City, Pep's always done it, yeah. Go look at Pep's career. People might think this is rubbish, but it's not. Pep doesn't like big squads, right? He didn't have a big squad at Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and City. City have 16 quality footballers, and that's what he rotates all the time. And he's very good at rotating. Pep's one of the best managers I've seen at knowing when to rotate players. And I look at Foden, and I feel like Pep might make Foden a midfielder now. I think he's looking at Foden to take the Bernardo Silva role in that midfield.
Inside 8. Yeah.
And that's where Foden might end up because, he's a superstar there, really. He's an absolute superstar. And you see the way City play now. They play with more creative, wide men that make the room for Haaland to get into the positions he needs to get into. So it ain't over flooded in that box. So Haaland's got movement to play in. I think Foden in that midfield behind, in that inside 8, and then wide wingers with, and then Alvarez on the bench as backup. City team to beat like every year. They're just great. But losing the midfielders they're losing, it's hard to replace because they're quality, man.
Yeah.
These are quality midfielders that don't get. I think Gundogan don't get the respect he deserves. He's a tremendous midfielder. Tremendous midfielder. He won City the league at the end of the season, in my opinion. He's the one.
He also won us the FA Cup and he won us a lot,
man. He stepped up. He did it at the end of last season as well.
Yeah, I was about to say the Villa game last year.
My man's clutch. He's clutch. Absolutely. You got to remember the season before last. So the last 3 seasons, which you've got to remember, are the three-peat. First season, he was our top goal scorer. When De Bruyne got injured, Gundogan started playing a false 9. Last season, at the back end of last season, this season he was our captain, won us the FA Cup. Gundogan,
great.
Yeah, bro, he's unreal. And the mad thing is, he was Pep's first signing as well. So he's huge. To lose him is absolutely massive. Bernardo. But the thing is, if we kind of have to do it now because you got to remember in potentially 2 years' time, De Bruyne goes as well, right? We can't let it all go in one time. So it is what it is. Look, this is football. Liverpool have seen it recently that, like,
if you leave it too long,
it's exciting times. That's face it. It's quite exciting.
I think the beauty is at the moment, because I honestly believe having a solid defense and some good DMs, makes the base makes everything a lot easier. I think that's why Newcastle looks so good defensively that helps them to. That's why they are where they are. Mancini won us our first league playing a bit more pragmatic football. Chelsea have won so much playing pragmatic football. Right now, I'd say we're probably in the best place to change our midfield with a solid defence behind them. Because we've seen with Liverpool trying to change the midfield. And we'll see though. We'll see.
It is interesting.
I came into this window saying, I've just got to trust the board, and that's where it is at the moment. It's just trusting everyone and everyone calming down and just seeing where. Look, we got Pep; he'll make it work. So,
and that's the thing, Daps. You've always even said to me, even when I'm just at yours chilling or whatnot, you say whoever you get in, you're that comfortable with Pep that no matter what, you're going to trust him with the signings, and that's a good place to be in. That you're not worried, and you're like, right, I know what Pep's doing, I know it's under control, and also the way your boards run with Bergestein. They know what they're doing. It's an organized club. And I think you haven't got I don't think you've got anything to be worried about going into next season so far. What I want to ask you quickly, Cass and Ugg, before we wrap up. Cass, in terms of City bringing in Kovacic, Gundogan going, Pavard potentially coming in, Walker going, and looking at the signings of Liverpool and Arsenal so far, how much do you think the gap's been bridged right now, speaking right now?
Well, it depends if Arsenal get rid of Partey or not, innit? If they get rid of Partey, then it's like, okay, then they got rid of Partey, but then they just got rid of Gundogan. What's the difference? Like, that's a big hole. And if you go get Lavia, what's that? So that's the way I look at it. Liverpool, though, on the other hand, they got Europa League. I don't expect them to even challenge for the league next year because Europa League, I think they're going to go far in, and that's just going to take a toll because Thursday, Sunday, sometimes a Saturday, it's going to kill you. So that's the way I look at it. And then there's the Monday night. And then if you're playing on a Monday night from a Thursday, because they love playing Liverpool on a Monday night, you got to go Thursday again and then Sunday again. That's the difference. I think that's what holds Liverpool for next year. But I just don't think Arteta's got an excuse for next season. This is probably the only time right now in Pep's since Pep started his first season at Man City to go and attack it and go win it. Because I swear down, the following season, you ain't winning it. That last season that he wants to exit by the way. He's just got to run through it.
I think City walk the
And
league
that's his
next
exit.
season.
Another league before I leave. All right, here we go.
I think City walk the league next season because Liverpool ain't ready. Arsenal, there's one thing we ain't mentioned about Arteta. He can't get over the line. It's a fact. You know, the season before last, he couldn't get over the line finishing fourth and bottled it with 3 games to go and Spurs got fourth. Last season, Daps might agree with me a little bit here. It's mad, even though City won the treble. But I don't think that was a great City Premier League side last season.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And because they finished on 89 points. You know, the best City team I've seen is the team that Liverpool went against, the 97, 99 point teams.
Do you know what?
And
we didn't.
We over the line.
That's why they said. That's why you said that. This was it. Arsenal. That wasn't even a fight.
But we came alive later. We came alive later than we usually come alive. Do you know what? Honestly, last season for me, it was Pep. Like every season, I seem to gain that little bit more respect for Pep. And last season, it was Pep calling out players, making changes early on, right? Not leaving it till March. January, he was doing a whole heap of stuff, right? And also, it's like realizing last season, Pep realized for once there is an art to defending. Pep realizing for once, I don't need 100% possession. There were just little tweaks, and it's Pep evolving in the Premier League. That's what it was, and it's having. I'm not gonna lie. Gundogan is a massive loss. Gundogan is a massive reason why we won the league last season. But listen, City momentum. In January, February, I didn't think we were going to win a flipping FA Cup, let alone do the treble. So it's what it is. I don't know. I think next season's going to be interesting. The season after will be even more because I think United will be here. I think United and Newcastle will be more ready. Liverpool, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Season after next, I think is going to be an absolute madness.
It's actually going to be. I agree. I feel like for quite a few teams, it's going to be building up to that year after. And where do you stand on it, Uggs, as well? Then we'll wrap up. Like with the gap at the moment, do you feel like it's still the same going into next season despite the signings, or you kind of at the area where Jamie's at, where it's like, do you know what? City are still going to walk it at the moment.
I think just because City have Pep, right, that gives them the edge over all the other sides. I feel like with City, what I was going to say is that the players, they've either won everything and they want a new challenge, or the other players want more minutes. So they could face probably a group of players leaving at the same time, and that can harm them. Not this season maybe, but in probably next season. So it's funny because I was having this same debate this morning, saying that Man City need a rebuild. But I feel that just because of Pep and what he done last season, with a City side who, like we said, they didn't play their best football, but they still managed to come away with a treble. And Pep always finds a way. He always does. Yeah. So I back him to do the same. I feel like Arsenal, they can sign whoever they want, but I just don't feel like mentally that they're there yet. Still, Liverpool have their own issues. United, they will always be that side until, I don't know, they sell the club.
Chelsea are the unknown because they haven't got Europe.
So
Chelsea are the unknown. Forget Tottenham. Chelsea are the unknown. They haven't got Europe, man.
Strangers, man.
And you know, Poch is really good with youngsters. He's really good with the younger players. He's got to integrate
a whole new squad.
Yeah, I think he's the perfect manager for Chelsea in terms of the players they've got and the age. But I don't think they're going to be there yet. I think
but they get interrupt.
You're going to be able to see.
They'll interrupt.
They're going to have some big results. Like they will have Liverpool at home and they might beat them and throw the spanner in the works and stuff like that. But I do feel like in terms of watching and sort of the intriguing factor, I think you're right, Jamie, in terms of like they're the team to say you don't know what's going to happen. But we're going to wrap it up here. An hour and 18 minutes in. Guys, make sure before you go, how many likes are on, Cass?
Not enough.
There you go. So you got to like the video. No, that's a great answer. We should just say that all the time. Guys, make sure you like this video before we wrap up. Also, as well, if you want us to be discussing anything over the summer, of course, a lot of it is transfer stuff. We will be building up to the season as well, doing our predictions and stuff for the next couple of weeks before the season starts. But if there's anything you want us to discuss or any ideas you want to put forward, just put it in the comments below when the show ends. Not in the live chat, put it in the actual comments of the show, and we can definitely look at doing some of them. I want to big up Uggs and Jamie for coming on. Obviously, I've known Jamie for a while, but Uggs, it's great to have you on, and I think you'll definitely be coming on again. Before I do just do the proper outro, is there anything you guys want to plug or anything you guys got coming up?
I mean, just my Instagram, Big Uggs. But by the way, people call them Uggs, but it's actually Uggs, isn't it? UG.
Uggs. Okay. Cool.
Ugo, but it's obviously short for Ugo. So Big Uggs underscore on Instagram and YouTube, the voice of the tune. So
perfect. Yeah. And what about you, Jamie?
I haven't actually got much on at the moment. I've got the kids' summer holidays coming up and all that, so it's going to be busy.
Tell me about it.
I've got 3 kids, man. It's going to be busy, you know what I mean? And so I don't know what's coming up. I'll just go live whenever I go live, basically.
Love that, man. Well, the channels are down there below anyway, so people, you can make sure you subscribe as well. Liking this video obviously helps our channel a lot, pushing it out there. We'll be back tomorrow lunchtime. It might be a 12:30 stream tomorrow, people, so we can get you started for the day.
Might it?
Maybe. If you want to be, of course you can.
No. It's just I've got guests, so I'll have to tell him. It's a different time. No, it's fine.
We'll sort it out. Yeah. It's cool. We'll chat about
it. Yeah,
if your notification bell it, then you won't have no problem, people.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. We're on tomorrow. No matter what, we're on tomorrow. So make sure you smash a like, and thank you guys for watching. And we'll catch you on the other side.
Peace.